Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a book review that I honestly debated if I wanted to do, but I decided I want to do it because I feel like this book is going to have a lot of haters and it's going to have a lot of people who liked it. It really depends on how you read the book. So I'm excited to get into it. And the book that we're going to be talking about is When We Were Bright and Beautiful. And if you saw my TBR, I actually read it. I read this. And I actually had it as a possible 5-star. And it was. It is a 5-star. It's a controversial 5-star because this follows our main character, Cassie, who is part of a very, very privileged family. Now, she herself is adopted, but her parents were also very wealthy. So she's got like a trust in her name and all this type of stuff. But she was adopted by their family friends. So she gained 2 brothers, one older, one younger, and 2 wealthy parents. So she's lived a very charmed life, went to prestigious schools, and I mean, grew up in this kind of lavish lifestyle, getting whatever she wants. And her younger brother, Billy, and her are super, super close. I think they said they called them Irish twins because they're a year apart and they were inseparable. Billy grew up with a bunch of issues as a child. He stutters, had heart conditions, etc. So she doted on him and she finally broke away from the family and went off to do her own thing. And that's when she gets a call from her older brother, Nate. And Nate says, "We need you home." Billy, the younger brother who she's really close to, has just been accused of rape by his ex-girlfriend. Oh, this is an emotional book. If you have any type of triggers for sexual assault, I wouldn't read it because it is, you really don't focus on the victim whatsoever except to victim blame. Because this is in the perspective of his family, it's his sister. Because it's in the perspective of his sister, you're getting his sister's point of view, why she thinks the ex-girlfriend is lying, what she knows about the case. So you're literally given like the tiniest bit of information about the actual case because you know what she knows. That's it. You're not following the victim where you're in the victim's head seeing everything that happened. Or survivor. I feel like some people really don't like the term victim, so we'll go with survivor. You're not in the head of the accused either because so you don't know what's going on there either. So it's it almost reads like mystery-esque because I mean there's moments where you're like, did he actually do it? Or is she really vindictive? So it has you questioning that stuff, like how you would question if you were part of the family. And it's hard. It is really hard to read. And it's going to piss a lot of people off. It's going to piss a lot of people off because they're going to... I already saw like one star. One of the only 1-star rating that I saw that had like a review said the family was really racist and privileged and it was impossible to read and they DNF'd it. And I'm like, it's kind of the point. Like, the family's not supposed to be likable. Like, this is an awful family. Awful family. And they're horrible people. They think that they're like woke, but they're not. No, absolutely not. They don't know what it would be like to survive paycheck to paycheck. They couldn't even fathom that. And that's part of the book, is this feeling of nothing can touch them. They can do whatever they want. And it's definitely a really, really important part of the book because you not only talk about the supposed rape, you also talk about Cassie's life and what's going on there, because she has, this isn't a spoiler or anything, she has a relationship with an older man who's married that started when she was very young. So she obviously is the victim of statutory rape and sexual assault of a minor, and it's just like, but she's so she was over sexualized as a child. Her adoptive mother didn't like her being around the sons and like nighties at 9. Stuff like that is going on in the background. So it's really it's a very complicated story. It's a very complicated story because there's layers and layers and layers. There's on one side it's like, oh my gosh, this family is so unlikable. On the other side it's like this stuff is going on, so you can't hate another, because technically Cassie is a victim of sexual assault. And I think what I got from this book is no matter how unlikable somebody is, a victim of a sexual assault is a victim of a sexual assault. End of story. It doesn't matter how likable they are. It doesn't matter what's going on else in their life. It doesn't matter anything else. If it happened, it happened. End of story. So I feel like it got that point across really well, and I feel like that was the main point. Like, I feel like this book really, like, it was about Billy, but it was definitely more about Cassie. And I wasn't expecting that. That's so something going into this book, if you're expecting a story just about the accused rapist, it's not. It is mostly about Cassie, and she is unlikable. Keep that in mind. But there's so much more going on, and I'm not going to bring up spoilers because there's really only like one major spoiler, two maybe. So I would rather, if you're interested in this, read it. It's pretty easy to guess. Like, it's not supposed to be a mystery. It's when it's revealed, it's like, everything makes sense. This all snaps into place. Everything, characters make much more sense afterwards. So it's just, it's written so well because she makes you hate them. And she makes you look at the fact that you hate them and asks, why do you hate them? Can you still be apathetic towards an assault victim when they're unlikable? And it's hard. It's a hard book that makes you look at things and how you feel about things. And it's really good. I really enjoyed it. That's why I gave it I was debating between a 4.5 and a 5, but I was like, she made me feel so many things. This book is going to be a book that I remember for a really long time. And it's an emotional ride. You're all over the place reading this book because it's also in 3 sections. So the first section is when you're kind of learning about her family. You're learning about Cassie. You're learning about Billy. You're learning about the allegations, like what the possible. See, I don't want to say like at the end because you are trying to decide if he's guilty or not. So I don't want to like give anything away. But the possible assault victim, you are learning all the stuff that Billy has said about her and what other people have said about her, that she's kind of stalkerish, etc. So you're definitely kind of more on like the family side at the beginning because you're like, what's actually happening? Like, what's going on? But there's always in the back of your mind like, I'm uncomfortable thinking this way. And then the second part of the book almost lost me. It almost lost me because it's almost entirely about Cassie. It goes away, like the trial's always there in the back of the mind, but it's mainly about Cassie and learning her story. Then the third section is going to be for you true crime people like me, and it's literally a court case, the last third of the book, which is fantastic. I absolutely loved it. It brought me back because the second part 2 is the hardest to read because it is the most unlikable part to read. She really got under my nerves in part 2. And then part 3, you learn all the stuff that's going on and it brings you back in, and the court case is really, really cool to hear what's going on. This book was just a lot. This book was an emotional ride, and I don't know who I would say to read it. I don't know. I feel like if you like crime books, this could be for you. That's kind of why I picked it up, because I listen and read a lot of crime fiction and nonfiction. So I was like, okay, this is like a contemporary fiction with like crime in it, so let me go outside my like comfort zone a little bit. So I would kind of try that. If you want to go outside your comfort zone and you're a true crime, nonfiction, whatever reader, I would try this. Don't hate me if you don't like it. I said it's going out of your comfort zone. If you like if you like unlikable characters and learning about characters and secrets, you'd probably like this. I don't know who else I would say to read it though. I'm honestly surprised it was a book of the month pick. Like it's pretty controversial to have as a book of the month pick. So I'm excited to see what everyone thinks of it, like who picked it. Like I haven't seen a lot of people pick it so far. I know a lot of people were picking like the Ruth Ware and the Lisa Jewell book and The Devil Takes You Home, because I'm waiting on that one. I got Devil Takes You Home late, so I'm waiting on that one. But yeah, I don't know who else I would say to read this. I'm really excited though to see what people think about it. I did tab, like I said, I tabbed some stuff. It's nothing like that makes sense. It was what I was feeling in the moment. Like some of it had to do with certain characters randomly. So I don't know, I'm not even gonna explain the tabs because they didn't make any sense. And I love this cover. But again, I'm trying to think of more people who would like it. Maybe if you read all the ugly, all the ugly and beautiful things, it was another book of the month pick, and it was following a girl, all the wonderful and ugly things. It was following a young girl like through her life, and her parents stink, and she's surrounded by awful people, and she has an older man in her life that kind of takes care of her until she's older, and there's something a little off about him. But it's like a really ugly, gritty contemporary fiction that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. I feel like if you liked that one, you'd probably like this one. It felt very similar in kind of like the vibes coming off it, where you just kind of feel uncomfortable about the way that you're thinking about things and how it's trying to like change how you think about things. So if you liked that one, you might like this one. And this is my first book by her. I was actually looking up her other books, so I might pick up another book that she's written, because this was written really well. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about it, because I didn't really want to talk about spoilers. I didn't want to talk about anything going on other than how difficult it was to read, who should kind of stay away from the book, and who maybe wants to pick it up. Because it's very niche. It's very niche, and I was nervous I was going to hate it. So this is a nice surprise, good read that I'm just going to be agonizing over. I picked up a light young adult horror that I'm reading currently to kind of detox from the emotions. So anyway, that's my book review, and I'm excited I got one of the books on my TBR out of the way, which is really exciting. And I am planning on putting out more book reviews as I go through that TBR. So if you want to know what books I'm going to be reviewing, go to that August TBR, and that'll give you a good idea what books I might be reviewing this month. And if you want me to review any of them, leave a comment down below specifically so I don't miss one. Anyway, I enjoyed this. If you could decide to pick it up, I hope you enjoy it. And I would love to know what you guys think about in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think if you want to pick it up, if you've picked it up and you're kind of nervous about reading it. I want to know what you guys think. Like, I'm excited about this one, weirdly. But I think that's all I gotta say. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Subscribe because I got more coming. So, that's all I got. And I'll see you guys in the next video.